Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is late. I'm opening up some toys. It's open late. I am Adam. This is the Highly Articulated channel, and I just thought, if I'm going to open toys, I may as well do them live. I may as well sort of enjoy them with you guys. And if you guys have any questions or comments or anything while I'm unboxing, feel free to drop a comment, drop a question. And if you're watching this on replay, by all means, comment down below if you got a question, and I'll try to answer it as best as I can. But without any further ado, let's take a quick look at the G.I. Joe Classified Series Cobra Viper Officers and Cobras 3-pack. Very glossy cover, as you can see. I get all the light reflecting off of it. Like, it's a very glossy box, but it is a very nice looking box. Great art. This is for me at least an example or a case where plastic free packaging kind of works for me, because I actually really like that we get the full art on the front of the box, as opposed to the window display. Because as soon as I take these out, that window, the sort of plastic window display doesn't really give me much, if I'm putting it on a shelf or something like that. I do keep the boxes for the classified figures, so I do like the art. I do enjoy that there is art on them. And the plastic free ones for me means more art, but everybody's going to have a different opinion. And of course, it says on the front here, say G.I. Joe Classified Series Cobra Viper Officer and Vipers. Then we have the choking hazard warning, the plastic free packaging. Then we get on both ends, and I won't be able to fit it in the shot, but I will. On both ends, we get the same thing. We get the this sort of this skill set. Oh wait, on one side it is for the Cobra Viper, and on the other side it is for the Cobra Viper Officer. I totally didn't notice that when I looked at it at first. So it is different. So there's a reason that it's on both sides. Then you get a bunch of legalese on the bottom there. More plastic-free packaging in as many languages as you could possibly want. The top is sort of the standard box top. The 3-pack is number 47. Flipping it over on the back, we get the sort of full, the picture of sort of the full case pack. So we do get 3 Vipers. We get the Viper Officer as well as 2 of the. Is this considered a standard Viper then? Is the other one, you know, a Cobra Island exclusive Viper, and this is the standard? Is that sort of what we're? Is that how we're gonna sort of refer to them going forward? I don't know. I mean, they appear to be virtually identical in every way apart from the blue, which we will get to once we get them unboxed. I'll take a closer look at the blue just to compare. I have a little bit of a theory as to why it's a different blue, but we'll get there in due time. Forgive me for bumping the camera there. We'll get there in due time, but I have a suspicion I know why they might have done that. But anyway, without further ado, let's get this box open. It's just taped on the top, but I already cut the tape for expediency's sake. And then we get right on top, we get a little box with sort of a topographical sort of print to it. No markings apart from that. There isn't any words or anything on there. Then we get our Vipers in a very underwhelming cardboard. It reminds me of some sort of like stormtrooper drop ship where they're all kind of loaded in and buckled in and strapped in. And that is it. That is the contents of the box. So I will push these guys back a little bit. As always, we'll be doing the accessories first, which I can only assume are in here. We're going to get the accessories. We're going to get the blast effects. We are going to get... what else does this come with? The scarf. No, the scarves are already on them, on the Vipers. I guess it's you know, I guess they operate in cold weather. I'm not sure. Jay says, tip it open. Tip this open. What's going on, Jay? I haven't chatted with you in a couple days. It feels like. Well, no. When was the last I chatted with you recently? What am I talking about? We get again more legalese in the form of this little paper. This is the only thing from the packaging that I typically don't keep, or wasn't with the window box ones. Now with the plastic free ones, I'm also not keeping these bits of cardboard. I am keeping the ones that the figures typically come in, but these are just. You know, who knows? I don't think I'm ever going to sell this stuff, so there's not really much point in holding on to the packaging, or at least not in my opinion. But 30 years from now, somebody's going to be like, I can't believe you didn't keep that packaging. It's worth $8,000 now. Because collectors are crazy. So in that first little cardboard, we get 2 of these Viper rifles. These are just the standard ones. These are the same ones that we got with the Cobra Island Vipers already. And now we start getting some of the ones that are unique to this pack. But I will I'll go over those ones in a little bit more detail once I get all these opened. So that's the second of 3 of the new ones. That is the one that I'm most excited for. That's the one that I like the look of the most. That cardboard backdrop that that the package creates is great. It's actually helping the camera focus a lot better. Jay said, just open my twins, and I believe he means Stalker. No YouTube page. Jay, you can use mine. I'll get you on next time you're gonna open something. Let me know, and I'll open something too. We'll do it. We'll have a play date. We'll have a play date live on one of these videos. And then the third of the three, and if I'm not mistaken, all three of them are sort of a variation on the same weapon. So I'll take a closer look at those once we get there. We have a couple of these sort of waxed paper bags, which I kind of like. I kind of like that we get like this cool, or at least I think it's kind of a cool print. I don't mind it. The plastic free packaging, I don't mind. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's it doesn't bother me in the slightest. So in that one, we get a whole slew of stuff. Here, let me adjust this ever so slightly so you can see. There, that's a lot better. Get a whole slew of stuff. So we get goggles, gold goggles. So those are going to go to that guy. A whole bunch of blast effects, which I'll set off to the side here. The blast effects, I wasn't over the moon that we were getting blast effects. I'll take a look at them. Some of them I'm looking forward to. Some of them I'm just like, yeah, who cares? So that's his pistol. And those are gonna get their pistols. This looks to be a suppressor, silencer. But it looks like the peg is bent, which is going to be a pain in the butt, but we will cross that bridge when we get there. As I said, the two regular rifles, which are fine. This is, everybody complained about the Nerf gun rifles. This one isn't a Nerf gun. I don't know what this design is based on. I don't love this design. I thought this was one of the weaker weapons that we saw in the first couple of waves, and then they sort of moved towards the more realistic stuff. I was okay with that. I'm totally fine with that. As we sort of get these ones, I'm quite happy that they've moved to more realistic stuff. But some of the Nerf-ish type ones, I wasn't that bothered by to begin with. Now these, I believe, have removable mags, which is pretty cool. I suspect that the suppressor will work on all of them because I think they have the there you go. So you can get that on any one of the three. Let's put that there. We get sort of the smallest of the three, the chunkiest of the three, and then, like I said, my favorite, which is sort of the longest version. And they all look pretty good. I tend to like stuff that looks a little bit more like that. I don't like super chonky, and I don't like the stubby ones. So that one is definitely going to be my favorite, and I think my officer is going to get that one. Now, out of curiosity's sake, I'm going to pull this mag out, as well as this one. So they all come out, but for curiosity's sake, I just want to check if they are the same size, and they are. So it looks as though they would be interchangeable. You can use any one of the three on any one of the rifles, which is good. You kind of store them mag in or mag out, however you want to display them. I got a couple of those Fortnite arcade things that have the weapon storage in them, so I'm probably going to set those up at some point and use those. Now, as far as the blast effects goes, this is okay. So these, I'm okay with minimal blast effects. I like kind of like this one because it kind of it has that sort of I don't know any gun terms, so if I get these totally wrong, feel free to laugh at me, feel free to correct me, feel free to comment, feel free to dislike the video, do whatever you want, do what makes you happy. But this like when a muzzle has like when the barrel, the end of the barrel, which I think is the muzzle, if I'm not mistaken, has sort of slits in it, you get this sort of this type of I don't know what it's called, but this is what you kind of get out of the barrel, which I think it's pretty cool that they did that. There's good texture on it too. No paint, but I'm okay with that. I mean, that one looks really good. That one I like. This one I don't quite understand. I don't know. You can see there's a bunch of holes in it. I guess that is meant to be the same. It's meant to have the same effect. It actually goes that way, which that one I don't get. This one just seems excessive to me. It seems like a lot of sort of muzzle flash. This one as well just feels like too much. Just feels like too much. This one's good. Small, nothing crazy. You know, a little bit of smoke, I guess, and then you know the muzzle flash. These ones are okay. I don't mind these ones either. Just simple. It still seems excessive. You know, when you kind of compare it to this little one, these two big ones just seem excessive. And then the fact that you kind of like piggyback them all on each other and just make these giant ones. That's just not my jam. I do like this one so that you can sort of make it look like, you know, you get like a dynamic motion, you know, as though the Viper's kind of swinging their rifle and sort of spraying the bullets, as it were. And I do like that they include the little smoke effect as well. These are fun because you can kind of pose them looking really badass, as though they've sort of just shot up some Joes or shot up a vamp or something like that, and they're just looking cool, looking badass. Jay said you replaced the Joe guns with Valverse. I do have a couple of those Valverse weapons packs, and they're good. They're quite realistic. They've been hit or miss. Some have seemed too big and out of proportion, and some have seemed a little bit small. But there's been a few that I've really, really liked, and they seem to sort of have gotten better with each with each sort of version. So they've done like weapons pack Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie and Delta, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I think I've gotten 3 of the 4 so far, and yeah, they're good. It's a good it's good value for money for sure. I mean, you get you know, 10, I think you get about 10 weapons in a weapons pack, and they're, you know, $20 or something like that, Canadian. I think they're even less in the US, obviously. But with the exchange, I think it's probably equivalent to about $20. But what do I know? I'm in Canada. I don't know how that stuff works. That's so you're just naming off the effects. That they call that a blam blam. That's a kapow. Muzzle flash, yeah, it's muzzle flash, but I don't know, like, I don't know if there's like a better term, or if there's like specific terms for any of that stuff. But anyway, regardless, who cares? Nobody cares. Certainly not anybody that's sort of watching this. And then we do have one more of these, and I believe that this is just the backpacks. When I'm opening these, it reminds me of some of the some of the junk that my kids buy, the LOL dolls and the various sort of blind bag type nonsense that they absolutely love. But anyway, let's get these Vipers out of this cardboard prison, shall we? And of course, it is going to require me to cut a whole bunch of strings, so bear with me. I'm going to do this off camera because it's way easier. Now, had I prepped this in any way, shape, or form whatsoever, probably could have done this ahead of time, but I didn't. So you have to bear with me. I never claimed to be professional. Far from it. If you love amateur, noisy, annoying unboxing videos, this is the channel for you. And on that note, if you really do like that style, please like, subscribe, and hit the notifications button to find out the next time I'm going to do a very unprofessional job of unboxing, which will be very soon, by the way. But I will mention that again once I get to the end, and hopefully I will remember to mention that again. There's a lot of string and a lot of tape holding these guys in, as though Hasbro didn't want you to be able to get them out very easily. And of course, they're all crooked and janky, so they're not going to be able to stand up. Now, once I get these guys out, the first thing I'm going to look for is whether or not the skin tones on mine work or don't work. And check some of the QC stuff, because that has been sort of the biggest complaint that people have had about these is that the skin tones don't match from the neck to the forearms. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that without removing the gauntlets, the cuffs. However, I will certainly try to check as best I can, because that was the one thing that I was sort of, I'm not worried about, but that's sort of the one thing that I knew was sort of an issue. Specifically with the with these two, not so much with the officer, but now I already noticed a couple little things. This guy's got a weird scuff on the top of his boot. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that or not. Right at the top, right there, right above my thumb. Which isn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but weirdly it's on both of them. So what's going on there? I do have a spare Viper that I took apart for parts fodder, so that's not an issue for me. I can absolutely just swap the extra boots out, and I'm not really that worried about it. Jay said Vipers are my least favorite Cobra Troopers, as I honestly have no nostalgia. You know what? I always loved the design of the Vipers. I just thought they looked super badass. The visor plus the the visor plus the goggles, which is what everybody complains about, which I think is funny, because I think it's awesome that they did that. I think it's funny that they doubled down on eye protection, because your eyes are important. We should all double down on our eye protection. All right, so am I going to be able to see what is... and there's like weird paint splotchy bits on his arm as well. No, without heating it up, I'm not going to be able to see. No, I mean this. I took the scarves off so that I could see the necks, because there are two different skin tones, and if I sort of look under the cuff as best as I can, I can't really tell. Can't really tell, but so I guess as long as you leave the cuffs on, it won't make a difference anyway. It's not really like one of those QC issues where like the figure looks bad. If you take the cuffs off and you find that the skin tone doesn't match, you have an issue. But like I said, if you don't, it's not really going to make that much of a difference anyway. So, but I think I definitely like that they went with different colored skin tones. I would have liked them to have done that in the first place. And what I mean by that is, like in the same way that we saw variants for in the same way that we saw variants for the Trooper originally, like there was 3 different versions of the Trooper, and then when they did the standard release Trooper, they did a different skin tone. I would have loved for them to just have variants where although people would have gone crazy, or for them to sort of re-release the Trooper, in another skin tone. I just think it's just good. I think it's great to have the diversity in the line. I also think as like if you're army building, it helps for army building because it makes it look like you have more troops that aren't just more like they're not just clones. If you got bats, it doesn't matter. They're robots. They're all going to look the same. They're supposed to all look the same. But if it's meant to be a human, I mean, humans have different skin tones, so it's weird to me that they would all be the same. When we got a couple different skin tones with those troopers, I actually swapped them up a little bit so that the troopers from different releases all kind of looked a little bit different, and I think it looks good. And I have lots of troopers. I have lots more troopers than I will have Vipers. But I think they look good. I think they look really good. My only gripe is that, and I'll sort of get to it more specifically in a moment. Is the color and the change of the color? But this guy looks great. The gray and the it's kind of like a clay color. It's less of a red. I anticipated it being more red. I anticipated it almost being like crimson. But this color in hand, and maybe it's just the lighting that I'm sort of under, looks to be sort of a dark, like a dark clay color almost, if I'm seeing it accurately. But I think it looks pretty cool. I'm excited to have this guy to sort of lead my other Vipers. Now with the original ones, these the goggles didn't fit on the helmet, and everybody's split because they had a seam right on the back. But these, they've moved the seam to the side on either side. I don't know if the band is any different or not, but regardless, I think they look, it's still pretty tight. And it doesn't stay on. It won't stay on. So what I found with my Cobra Island one is that if I heated them up and put them on while they were malleable after being in some very hot water, they sat much better and they stay on really, really well. So I'll have to do that with these guys, and I'll probably take these gauntlets off too and just check the skin tone as well, just for curiosity's sake. But like I said, if you've got those wrist covers on, it doesn't really matter. You can't see the skin tone. So regardless, these are like Schrodinger's Vipers. They may have the correct skin tone. They may have the incorrect skin tone. I won't know until I actually take the gauntlets off. But Jay said, okay, that actually looks pretty good. Now I feel bad. Hey, don't feel bad, Jay. You don't have to feel bad. That's the thing, is that everybody's going to have different preferences. I, for one, absolutely love the Alley Viper, and there's a lot of people that really can't get behind that very vibrant orange. Left Coast Graphics says, "Word up! What's going on, my friend? Happy to have you. Happy. The more, the merrier." Now, what I said, when I started, was that the one thing that I really wanted to see sort of in hand was the difference in terms of the color. So this is, of course, because I've just unboxed it, the new 3-pack Viper. And in contrast to the Cobra Island one, I mean, you can see it. I mean, in hand, it's very obvious, and on camera, it's very obvious. They are very obviously not the same color at all. The Cobra Island Viper is very vibrant. The red is brighter. The blue is brighter. The silver on the masks is a little bit different too. It's almost a little more sparkly on the Cobra Island Viper, and it's not quite as shiny on the new one. Other than that, I mean, they're effectively the same. It's just the colors. And as I suspected, I still prefer the Cobra Island one. This one is a little bit too muted for me. I really like the really bright, vibrant red. And I should have done, but I didn't. But I can, because they're not far away. Bear with me for a brief moment. I happen to have a vintage Viper. And if we compare the vintage Viper, he's very much more in line with the Cobra Island Viper than he is with the new 3-pack one. Which is probably why I like the Cobra Island one more. But that's just personal preference. As I said, I thought that I had a suspicion about why this might be this color. Now let's see if I'm right. And I mean, I thought maybe that he would be sort of closer to the Crimson of the Crimson Twins, especially since they're doing the Crimson Bats. I thought maybe that these would be a crimson color to match the crimson here, but it's not. It's not quite. It's not quite a match. They're close. I would say that these are closer than these. Sorry, he's gone off camera. The color on this the crimson on this is probably closer to this, although it's not a great match, but it's better than the matches to this. This guy kind of stands out a little bit. That red is fairly unique on the shelf. I've got all the troop builders and all the figures up to this point, and that red is sort of unique to him. So I was thinking that these would go a little bit more crimson, like the Crimson Twins, but it's still more muted than that. It's still, I mean, you'd have to kind of see it to sort of know what I'm talking about. But regardless, they still look pretty good. And if you put them next to these guys, the blues don't match. That was the other thing that I was curious about. I just thought, maybe there's a reason there. But to be honest, I mean, this blue matches this blue probably a little bit better. I don't know. I mean, they're all different. They're all a little bit different shade of blue. And they're all, but I don't know. Pick the one that you like, I guess. I think these Vipers, the Cobra Island ones, I think are going to be easier to find and priced a little bit more palatable than they had been. They were going for a pretty penny for a while there when they were harder to find. But I think with these on the market now, people are going to sort of choose to army build some of the others. And And because you can get these really easily, I don't know that people are going to go after this guy quite as much, meaning that the price for this guy should, in theory, come down a little bit as the demand kind of drops off. So we will see. Left Coast Graphics, that's a mouthful for me for some reason. It says, in all seriousness, why would you need goggles if you are wearing a helmet with visor? In all seriousness, I don't know. My suspicion is that probably in the sort of design phase, and I don't have my Cobra Commander, my vintage Cobra Commander, that readily available. I think that the Viper helmet was too similar to the Cobra Commander helmet, and I think that's why they put goggles on it. I think they just put them on to differentiate. I also heard something, and I don't know if it was accurate or not. I don't know that I've ever heard it confirmed. I also heard that they sort of designed them. They designed it, and when somebody pointed it out, it was like too late. Like they'd already molded it or something like that. So they just left it. They're like, who cares? But there's lots of rumors out there. And Jay says because they get baked at work and don't want Destro to catch them red-eyed. I mean, would they be able to see through the visor? Would you be able to see through that sort of chromed out visor anyway? I don't know. Oh, that was the other thing that I meant to take a look at, the backpacks. So the backpack, they've sort of changed the deco a little bit. The Cobra sigil isn't sort of tampoed quite the same, and they've done these little canisters in gray instead of red. So a couple little design changes, a couple little color changes. But all in all, I would say a pretty great set. I'm just going to adjust this one more time so that you can sort of see everything in the shot and hopefully still get the comments in there. Yeah, good enough. Move these over here a little bit so you can sort of see everything. It's a lot of stuff. I got to say, there's a lot of stuff in there. A lot of good stuff. And if you're army building Vipers and maybe you missed the Cobra Island ones, this is I think a great way to get a bunch of Vipers. Left Coast Graphics vintage figs had goggles, right? Yes, they did. They absolutely did. It's like I said, this is a pretty pretty accurate representation of what we got in the vintage figure, right down to the weird sort of padding on the legs. I wish they had done it exactly how they had it on this, where it's sort of on both sides of the leg. I think somebody screwed up the design on that, but what can you do? That was my nitpick of this one, and it sort of still carries through. Like I wish that sort of padding thing carried down that side and that it sort of went up on the inside, but I think somebody screwed up and somebody signed off on it and nobody wanted to call anybody out, so that's where we're at. Eddie, what's going on, buddy? Love that set, says Eddie. Jay says army builders are always a good thing. Yep, I think they're always a good thing, and it's nice. It's nice to get them in a pack like this where you don't have to track down a whole bunch. I like that we got the officer. I would have maybe preferred the officer be a single release figure with sort of 3 Vipers in a pack, or 2 Vipers in a pack and a single release for the officer, personally. But the balance, I think, is right. So if you're buying a couple of these packs, if you got 2 officers and 4 of the regular Vipers, I think that's a decent balance. If you got Python Patrol Vipers as well, plus a couple of these, you can kind of mix up your ranks and have different categories, different classes, different different officer designations, or whatever you may prefer. Yeah, I already had sort of enough of these in my collection. I was very fortunate to find a bunch of these at Toys R Us. So I really bought the set for the officer, and I'm definitely not disappointed. I do like the gold visor, the gold goggles, and like I said, as much as I thought this was going to be more of a red and less of a sort of a clay color, I can dig it. I can dig it. I think it looks pretty good. It's a good color. It's a good color for sure. And if I change my mind, I can always pop that vest off and then use the gray body, which I don't think we've had a gray body before. So for kit bashing and fodder, I might try to track down another one of those officers. I don't need more Vipers. Like I said, I already had extras. But the officer is pretty awesome. Left Coast Graphics, BC Sasquatch Man is going to pop his cherry on Who's live stream. I reached out, I offered, I said he could come on anytime. He said he'd defend anybody that he said he would offend anybody if he were to come on. I said challenge accepted. I could always mute his microphone, so it's not. Plus, who cares? Like no, like if he's gonna go on any video, it should be this one because nobody's paying attention. I mean, no disrespect to anybody that's currently watching or sort of watching after the fact, but relative to where he could really get himself in trouble, I think it would be pretty safe to jump on here. But we shall see. As I said, I've offered before, and he's declined. So maybe one of these days. Anyway, that's all I had. Normally I do 2 figures, but as this was a 3-pack, it's kind of like a bonus episode in some ways. Did you guys have any more questions, comments, anything about the Viper 3-pack? If not, I will end the video, turn off all the lights, curl up on the couch and watch the TV. Jay says I'm waiting for marriage. Fair enough, Jay. How does your wife feel about that? But yeah, these are that's the other thing. These backpacks are really big, so it makes the balance kind of funny. He's okay. He was in a decent standing pose already, so he didn't fall over backwards like they often do. This guy's got one loose leg. Jay says, "Are you working on your top 10 for 2022?" Well, I am, but that's funny you should ask, Jay. I am and I'm not. I'm not working on a top 10 because I'm gonna do because I do Saturday nights live for Mythic Legions, because I do Northern Outpost debriefs for G.I. Joe Classified, and then I do Highly Articulated as well, because I do a bunch of different videos that are sort of different topics. I'm going to do a top 3 Mythic Legions, I'm going to do a top 3 G.I. Joe Classified, and then I'm going to just do a top 3 sort of overall for 2022. So I guess that's my top 9. I'll just have to throw some honorable mentions in there. But we'll see. So stay tuned for those videos. Hit that notification button if you want to see any of those videos. As I said, they're coming up, and I'm planning to do all of those in December. And then in January, I'm going to do a top 3 most anticipated figures. I may do more. I may do 5. I may do 10. It just depends on how many people want to join me on the videos. And then we'll sort of figure out how much time we have, depending on how many other people have their top picks. Eddie said, "Great stream, brother." Thank you, Eddie. Happy to have you, man. It's you're usually out having dinner somewhere when I'm doing videos. How many Mr. T figures in your top 10? 0. I have 0 Mr. T figures in my whole collection. I think I did have one. I did have one vintage 3 3/4 inch like O-ring 18 figure, but somebody. Now I can't even remember who. Somebody who was a really, really big fan of the A-Team got the 3 or 4 A-Team figures that I got because they would appreciate them more than I would. Jay says, "Cool, I'll come on one of those. Maybe on yours too, Left Coast." Well, maybe we'll Left Coast. You jump on this one. We'll just do it all. Who is Left Coast? I feel like I know who that is, but when it's a YouTube name, it throws me for a bit of a loop. But anyway, Jay's going to be on everybody's video, and everybody's going to get Jay's top 10 list, whether they like it or not. But yeah, that's the Viper 3-pack. It's I think it's a pretty cool 3-pack. You can pick it up from ecollectibles.ca. Mike's got these in stock still, I believe. If you like blast effects, if you like Vipers, if you missed them last time, and yeah, hit Mike up for all my top 10 figures. I think I got from Mike. So heroes and villains. I mean it's not adding up in my feeble brain. I'm pretty sure I know I'm pretty sure I know who that is. But I'll get to the bottom of it, and then next time you're on, I'll know exactly who it is. Jay says, let's do it. All right, so Jay's going to be on. We're going to do a video with Jay. We'll do it late at night so that the children are in bed and Jay can't offend at least the children. He'll offend some of the adults. Jay says, Sasquatch Andre the Giant is top 10 for me. Is he 1 through 10? I feel like he's 1 through 10. Left Coast Graphics says, I'm huge in India. And Jay says, he's a buddy of mine. Jay, I think everybody's a buddy of yours. I feel like I feel like you get along with everybody, and I feel like everybody gets along with you. So that's always a good thing. But anyways, guys, that's all I got. That's the Viper 3-pack. It is a pretty cool set. I would say it would be a pack that I would recommend. I think you get 3 really great figures. I think the you know, I prefer this colorway, but you know, since that colorway has come and gone, I think your ability to pick up these Vipers in this colorway is still just a great choice, and like I said, a great army builder. These guys always seemed like a sort of a more specialized troop than this guy. This guy's just cannon fodder. This guy just gets mowed down left and right. The Vipers, I feel like, have a little bit more, you know, strategy and tactic, and they could hold their own, I think. So yeah, I would say this is a great figure pack, and readily available. So, you know, army build to your heart's content. Thank you again for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, you know, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you want to be notified when I jump on here next time, please hit that notification button. It's always more fun to do these with you guys present, with you guys asking questions and commenting. It's just more fun for me. I don't feel like I'm just speaking into the void. So thank you ever so much for joining me, and I will talk to you again soon. Thank you. Bye bye.